Okay, so good day everyone and welcome to MPA 204, no, Executive Leadership and Supervisory Development. No? And this course is not simply about theory, it is about preparing you to lead people, no, systems, and institution in complex real-world environments. From today onward, no, I want you to view the class as a leadership laboratory where your experiences, no, your decisions, and your reflections will shape the kind of executive and public leader you are becoming. No? Our goal this semester is to elevate your thinking, no, from managing tasks, no, to leading people with purpose, no, with ethics, and with strategic direction. So I think no need for us to do this one, no, because as go along, no, I could able naman to know every all of my students, no. So this is also my credentials, no, and I am the one who handling your course, no, MPA 204 as I mentioned earlier, no. So this will be my associate in undergraduate degree program, no. Um, I come from, of course, multidisciplinary academic background, spanning computer science, no, IT, engineering, business, public ad, and education. Law, actually, Juris Doctor. I'm now taking up my Juris Doctor. And emerging fields such as cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and data science. Uh, I share this not to impress, no, but to emphasize that leadership today is interdisciplinary. No? Effective executive leaders must understand systems, no, people, technology, governance, and ethics, no, simultaneously. Again, I share this not to impress. Okay, so this course is grounded in the same integrated perspective. No, so I have, of course, 6 doctorate degree earned, and I have 7 honoris causa doctorate degree. Okay, so this course is designed to give you an in-depth understanding of executive leadership and supervisory competencies, essential, of course, for both public and private organizations. Because right now, meron nagtitake sa inyo ng MPA pero nasa business, wala sa government agency. So we will examine leadership theories, no, emotional intelligence, strategic decision making, no, ethical governance, and change management. At the same time, we will strengthen your supervisory skills, the communication, team leadership, performance management, and problem solving. So by the end of this course, you should not only understand leadership concepts, but also be capable of crafting evidence-based leadership and supervisory action plans na applicable to your respective workplace. Na? So, at the end of the term, you are expected to. No? So, this learning outcomes defines what you should be able to do by the end of the semester. Not just what you should know. No? You are expected to analyze leadership situations critically, no? Apply executive leadership frameworks, demonstrate ethical situations critically, of course, and decision making, and design supervisory strategies, no, that improve organizational performance. So rest assured that every activity, case study, and assessment in this course is aligned with this outcome. So I strongly encourage, no, you to revisit them regularly as guide, no, for your learning. Okay. Now, for the course overview, so this will be an introduction part of the content, no, the course content for the entire semester, no. So week 1, no, in our first week actually, now we established the foundation of executive leadership, no, focusing on the roles, the responsibilities, and challenges faced by leaders in complex public and private organization, no? Because executive leadership goes beyond holding authority. Take note of it. Now, it involves setting direction, making strategic decisions, and being accountable for people, performance, and ethical outcomes. At this stage, I want you to begin seeing yourselves not just as employees or managers, but as emerging leaders, no, whose action and decisions have organizational and societal impact. No? We will also explore classical and contemporary leaders theory, no, or theories, no, particularly trait theory, behavioral theory, and situational leadership. And these theories help us understand why some leaders are effective in certain contexts but not in others. Now, rather than memorizing definitions, our goal is to critically examine how these models explain leadership behavior in real organizational settings, especially within government institutions and public service environments where leadership challenges are often highly contextual and politically sensitive. Na? This week, during the first week, includes a self-assessment component which is crucial for leadership development. You will be guided to reflect on your own leadership styles, strengths, and areas for improvement. Executive leadership begins with self-awareness, and this reflective process will serve as a baseline for your growth throughout the semester, because leadership is not about perfection. It is all about continuous learning, self-regulation, and intentional improvement. Week 2, focus on emotional intelligence. As a core competency of effective executive leadership, technical skills and authority alone are insufficient in leadership roles. The ability to understand and manage emotions, both your own and those of others, is essential. We will examine why emotionally intelligent leaders are more effective in motivating the teams. Managing stress, resolving conflict, and building trust within your respective organizations. Okay. This week also, during week 2, the presenter also emphasized assessing and developing emotional intelligence. You will learn practical ways to evaluate your self-awareness, the self-regulations, motivation, empathy, and social skills. And these competencies directly influence how leaders respond to pressure, uncertainty, and interpersonal challenges. In executive and supervisory roles, emotional reactions can either strengthen leadership credibility or undermine it, which is why development or emotional intelligence development is treated as a serious leadership responsibility. In this week, we will discuss leading with authenticity and empathy, particularly in diverse and dynamic work environments. Authentic leadership requires alignment between values, your words, and actions, while empathy allows leaders to understand perspectives different from their own. In public administration, where decisions often affect communities and stakeholders, ethical sensitivity and empathy are not optional. They are essential to responsible and humane leadership. For week number 3, leading teams and collaborations. Week 3 shifts our attention to leading teams and fostering collaboration, a critical responsibility of executive leaders and supervisors. Organization achieve results through people working together. And leaders must know how to build, guide, and sustain high-performing teams. We will examine the characteristic of effective teams, including shared goals, clear rules, trust, accountability, and performance orientation. We will then focus on effective communication, and the most important one is the conflict resolution. Leadership communication is not merely about giving instructions. It is about listening, clarifying expectation, and managing difficult conversation. Conflict is inevitable in organizations, believe me, especially in diverse teams. But when handled constructively, it can lead to innovation and improve decision making. So this week, no, we will equip you with practical strategies to manage conflict professionally and ethically. We will discuss also how leaders cultivate a culture of collaboration and innovation. Executive leaders shape organizational culture. Okay, so again, executive leaders shape organizational culture through policies, behavior, uh, and reinforcement systems. Now, you will learn how leadership action is influenced openness. Take note of it. Creativity and teamwork. In public sector organizations, collaboration is particularly important because complex problems require coordinated efforts across units, across agencies, and across stakeholders. Leadership, therefore, becomes a collective and relational process rather than a solitary role. No? So, for week number 4, the presenter focus on strategic leadership, no? which requires leaders to think beyond daily operations and toward long-term organizational direction. So, strategic leaders are responsible for defining a clear vision, mission, and goals that provide purpose and direction to your organization. So, this week or week 4 emphasizes that effective leadership is not reactive but intentional. No? Guiding institutions toward sustainable outcomes while balancing political, social, and organizational realities. No? We also examine strategic analysis and decision-making frameworks that support executive-level judgment. Leaders are frequently required to make high-impact decisions under uncertainty, under limited resources and competing stakeholder interests. So through structured frameworks, leader can assess internal and external environments, evaluate risk, and make evidence-based decisions. Our discussions will highlight how sound decision-making strengthens credibility and organizational trust. And this week also, week number 4, addresses the importance of aligning strategy with organizational objectives. A well-crafted strategy is ineffective if it is not translated into actionable goals and operational plans. Now, executive leaders must ensure that policies, programs, and performance indicators are aligned with the organization's strategic direction. And this alignment is especially critical in public administration where accountability, transparency, and measurable outcomes are central to public trust. No? Week number 5, focus on change management and adaptability. No? It centers on leading through change, an unavoidable responsibility of executive leaders today's dynamic environment. Organizations constantly face policy shifts, technological advances, and societal expectations that require adaptation. This week, explore the change impacts individuals, teams, and organizational culture. We will then focus on change management strategies and techniques that enable leaders to guide organizations through transitions effectively. And this include planning, communication, stakeholder engagement, and monitoring progress. Executive leaders play a critical role actually in setting the tone for change by modeling commitment, addressing concerns, and ensuring that change initiatives are aligned with organizational values and objectives. And this week also highlights the importance of resilience and adaptability in times of uncertainty. Because effective leaders do not merely survive change. Hindi pwedeng okay, nakasurvive, that's it. You need to learn from it and leverage it for improvement. Building organizational resilience requires emotional intelligence, flexibility, and a learning-oriented mindset. Because in public administration, adaptability ensures continuity of service delivery even amid crisis, reforms, or resource constraint. Week number 6, influencing and negotiation skills. In week 6, We examine influencing skills as a core element of executive leadership. Authority alone does not guarantee compliance or commitment. Leader must be able to persuade, inspire, and gain support across different levels of the organization. This week emphasized ethical persuasion, credibility, and the responsible use of influence in leadership roles. No? We will also explore negotiation techniques for achieving win-win solution or win-win outcomes. No? Executive leaders frequently negotiate with employees, unions, partners, and external stakeholders because effective negotiations requires preparation, active listening, and the ability to balance your organizational interests with mutual benefit. Our discussion will focus on principled negotiation, and that promotes cooperations rather than conflict. No? This week addresses stakeholders management and building strategic alliances. No? Leaders operate within complex networks of stakeholders whose interests may differ or even conflict. So, understanding stakeholders' dynamics and building collaborative partnership are essential for policy implementation and organizational success. Executive leaders who can manage relationships strategically are better positioned to mobilize resources, resolve conflicts, and achieve sustainable outcomes. Week number 7, of course, ethical leadership and social responsibility. In week 7, we examine ethical leadership as a cornerstone of executive decision making. Leaders at the executive level are often confronted with complex moral dilemmas involving power, public trust, and competing interests. This week emphasizes that ethical leadership is not simply about compliance with rules, but about consistently making principled decisions that uphold integrity, fairness, and accountability, especially in public administration where decisions have made societal consequences. We will also discuss corporate social responsibility and sustainable leadership practices, highlighting the evolving role of organizations as stewards of social and environmental well-being. So executive leaders are expected to balance organizational performance with long-term social impact. And this includes ethical governance, responsible use of resources, and alignment with sustainable development goals or SDGs. Leadership success is increasingly measured not only by result, but by how those results are achieved. And this week also focuses on building trust and integrity in leadership. So, which are also essential. Okay? For legitimacy and effectiveness. Trust is earned through transparency, consistency, and ethical conduct over time. Executive leaders who demonstrate integrity foster strong employee commitment, stakeholder confidence, and organizational resilience. In public institutions, trust is the foundation of authority, credibility, and effective governance. In week number 8, devoted to personal leadership development, shifting the focus on shifting the focus inward. So leadership at growth is intentional and requires deliberate planning. Take note of it. And this in this week, on week number 8, guides us in creating a personal leadership development plan that identifies your strength, developmental needs, and leadership aspiration. Executive leaders must continuously invest, as what you did right now, enrolled in master's degree program, in your own growth. You need to invest in your own growth to remain effective in evolving organizational and societal context. We will then explore or focus also on goal setting, action and action planning for continuous growth. Leadership development is not abstract. It requires clear goals, measurable actions, and consistent follow through. No? So this discussion emphasizes aligning personal leadership goals with professional responsibilities, no, and organizational expectations. So through setting purposeful goals, leaders create a roadmap for sustained improvement and career progression. No? So another, in week number 8, this week emphasize reflection and feedback, no, evaluating leadership effectiveness. Because effective leaders actively seek feedback, no, and engage in reflective practice to improve their performance. Reflection allows leaders to learn from experience, while feedback provides external perspectives that challenge assumptions. Together, these practices promote self-awareness, adaptability, and long-term leadership effectiveness. On week number 9, no, introduction to supervisory development, no, discuss the rules and responsibility. Again, week 9 marks the transition to supervisory development. No? Beginning with an overview of the supervisors' roles within the organizations, no? Because supervisors serve as the critical link between executive leadership and operational staff. No? This week, or week number 9, clarifies how supervisory roles support organizational goals through coordination, through guidance, and through direct oversight of daily activities. Okay. We will then examine, no, the core responsibilities of supervision, no, including planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. No? And these functions ensure that resources are used efficiently and that organizational objectives are met. Effective supervisors translate a strategic goal into operational actions, monitor performance, and provide guidance to ensure consistent and quality outcomes. This week also addresses the challenge of transitioning from individual contributor, transitioning from individual contributor to supervisor. Many leadership difficulties arise during this transition. So, as new supervisors must shift from doing tasks themselves to leading others, this discussion highlights the mindset, the skills, and the behaviors required to succeed in supervisory roles, emphasizing communication, delegation, and accountability as the key competencies. Week number 10, communication and interpersonal skills. Again, in week 10, no, we focus on effective communication as a core supervisory skills. Supervisors serve as the primary communication link between management and staff, making clarity, consistency, and professionalism essential. No? This week emphasizes practical communication techniques that help supervisors convey expectation, policies, and feedback clearly while maintaining respect and authority. Effective communication reduces misunderstanding and strengthens workplace relationships. We will also examine active listening and guiding constructive feedback. Active listening allows supervisors to understand concerns, ideas, and emotions before responding, while constructive feedback supports performance improvement without damaging morale. So this discussion highlights how supervisors can create open communication environments where employees feel heard and valued. No? This week addresses also conflict resolutions, no, and managing difficult conversations. Workplace conflict is inevitable, but how supervisors handle it determines team morale and productivity. You will learn structured approaches for addressing disagreements, managing emotions, and resolving issues professionally. These skills are particularly important in public sector setting where accountability, fairness, and transparency are essential. Week 11, building and leading teams, no? Understanding Of course, week 11 focus on understanding team dynamics and stages of team development. No? Teams evolve through different stages, each requiring specific leadership responses. Supervisors must recognize these stages to provide appropriate guidance and support. And this week helps us understand how team behavior, performance, and communication change over time. No? We will then discuss also building trust and fostering collaboration within teams. No? Trust is the foundation of effective teamwork and is developed through consistency, fairness, and open communication. No? Supervisors plays a key role in creating environments where collaboration is encouraged and individual contributions are respected. Now, strong teamwork enhances efficiency, innovation, and employee satisfaction. And this week also emphasizes leading diverse teams and promoting inclusivity. No? Modern organizations are increasingly diverse, and supervisor must be capable of managing differences in background, perspective, and working styles. No? Inclusive leadership promotes fairness, mutual respect, and equal opportunity, which are essential for sustainable organizational performance and positive workplace culture. Week number 12, motivating and engaging employees. In week 12, we explore motivation theories and their applications in the workplace. Understanding what drives employee behavior helps supervisors design work environments that encourage productivity and commitment. This week connects classical and contemporary motivation theories to real supervisor practices, particularly in public sector organizations. We also focus on recognizing and rewarding employee contributions. No? Recognition does not always require financial incentives. Take note. No? Timely acknowledgement, appreciation, and development opportunities can significantly influence motivation. No? Supervisors who recognize effort and achievement help build morale, loyalty, and sustained performance. This week also addresses strategies for increasing employee engagement and job satisfaction. Engaged employees are more productive, committed, and resilient. Supervisor influence engagement through leadership style, communication, and support. So this discussion highlight practical ways supervisor can foster a positive work environment that promotes well-being, accountability, and organizational effectiveness. Week number 13, performance management and feedback. No? In week 13, we focus on performance management as a continuous supervisory responsibility, not merely an annual evaluation exercise. Ano po? Because effective supervisors set clear performance expectations and measurable goals that align individual roles with organizational objectives. Now, this week emphasized the importance of clarity, fairness, and consistency in communicating expectations so employees understand what success looks like and how their performance contributes to overall organizational outcomes. We will also examine conducting performance evaluations and providing constructive feedback. Performance evaluation should be objective. Ano po ha? Objective or evidence-based po and development-oriented rather than punitive. No? And this discussion highlights best practices in delivering feedback that is specific, dapat po timely, and focus on improvement. Supervisor who communicated feedback effectively help your employees grow while maintaining motivation and trust. This week also addressing handling performance issues and coaching for improvement. So upon knowing their weaknesses, it is our responsibility as supervisor also to for them to coaching, of course, for improvement. Supervisor are expected to address underperformance promptly and professionally. Coaching is presented as supportive leadership approach that help employees identify challenges, develop skills, and improve outcomes. In public administration, Effective performance management strengthen accountability, service quality, no, and organizational credibility. Week 14, time management and prioritization. Week 14 focus on time management as critical supervisory skills. Supervisors often juggle multiple responsibilities. Alam po natin yan. Multiple deadlines and stakeholder demands. So in this week, the presenter introduces practical techniques for managing time effectively, no, such as planning, scheduling, and minimizing distraction. So effective time management enables supervisors to focus on high-impact tasks rather than reacting to constant urgencies. No? We will then discuss prioritizing tasks and delegating responsibilities. Not all tasks carry the same level of importance, no? And supervisor must learn to distinguish between urgent and important activities. Delegation is emphasized as both a time management and leadership strategy, allowing supervisors to empower team members while maintaining accountability. Proper delegation enhances efficiency and support employee development. No? This week examines common time management challenges and how to overcome them. No? These challenges may include poor planning, interruption, workload imbalance, and role overload. So through identifying and addressing these obstacles, supervisors can improve productivity and reduce stress. No? In public sector environments, effective time management contributes to timely service delivery and responsible use of public resources. No? Week number 15, no, problem solving and decision making, no, problem solving techniques for supervisors. No? So in week 15, we focus on problem solving as a core supervisory functions. No? Supervisors are frequently confronted with operational challenges that require timely and practical solutions. And this week introduces structured problem-solving techniques that help supervisors define issues clearly, gather relevant information, and evaluate alternative solutions. And effective problem-solving promotes consistency and fairness in supervisory. Okay. We will also explore decision-making frameworks and strategies, no, that support sound judgment. No? Supervisory decisions often involve balancing policies, employee concerns, and organizational goals. This discussion emphasizes evidence-based decision-making, ethical considerations, and risk assessment. Strong decision-making skills enhance leadership credibility and organizational effectiveness. Ano po? This week also emphasize analyzing root causes, no, and implementing effective solutions. Addressing symptoms without understanding underlying cause often leads to recurring problems. Supervisor must be able to identify root causes, implement corrective actions, and monitor outcomes. No? In public administration, this approach supports continuous improvement, accountability, and sustainable organizational performance. Okay, week 16, creating a positive work environment. In week 16, we focus on organizational culture and its direct impact on performance. Organizational culture shape how people think, how people behave, and how people interact in the workplace. Supervisors and leaders play a critical role in reinforcing cultural norms through their daily on their daily actions, decisions, and communication. This week emphasizes that a positive work environment is not accidental. It is intentionally created and sustained by leadership behavior. We will also examine, no, how leaders promote a culture of trust, respect, and accountability. Trust develops when leaders are transparent, fair, and consistent, while accountability ensures that standards and expectations are upheld. No? Supervisor must model ethical conduct and respectful interactions, as employees often mirror leadership behavior. In public organizations, such cultures are essential for maintaining credibility and public confidence. This week also highlights strategies for fostering employee well-being and work-life balance. No? So employee well-being is increasingly recognized as a key factor in the productivity, engagement, and retention. Supervisors are encouraged to support reasonable workloads, no? Flexibility where appropriate, no? And a supportive work climate. Creating a health work environment contributes to sustainable performance and long-term organizational success. Okay? Sorry. For week number 17, no, supervisory action plan and leadership case analysis. No? So week 17 serves as the culmination of your learning in this course through the development of a personalized supervisory action plan. And this project requires you to integrate leadership theories, supervisory skills, and practical insights gained throughout the semester. The action plan should clearly identify areas for improvement, no? Demonstrate your readiness to apply leadership concept in real organizational setting. You will also define specific goals, actions. So, okay, again, as I mentioned, no, you also need to define specific goals, action, and implementation timelines that reflect realistic supervisory responsibility. So this component emphasizes planning, accountability, and feasibility because effective leaders do not rely on abstract intentions. No? They translate insights into concrete actions. And this exercises prepares you to approach leadership challenges systematically and proactively in your professional roles. We will also analyze real-world leadership case study and present your findings. Now, this task strengthens your analytical and communication skills by requiring you to evaluate leadership decisions, identify issues, and propose evidence-based recommendations. Presenting your insights to the class allows you to learn from diverse perspectives and demonstrate your growth as a reflective and competent leader. Okay? So our textbook serves as a core reference, no, to support our discussion and analysis. However, I want to emphasize that this course does not rely on a single book. Okay? Leadership is dynamic and evolving, and your learning will be significantly enriched through the use of academic journals, case studies, and real-world leadership examples. I strongly recommend that when preparing your narrative reports, pre-recorded presentation, and actual class presentation, you consult at least 2 to 3 additional textbook reference relevant to your topic, as well as credible journals articles. No? Doing so will allow you to develop a more comprehensive, evidence-based, and well-rounded discussions that reflects graduate-level scholarship and executive-level thinking. Okay, actually, this slide, no, these references reflect the academic rigor of graduate level, and you are expected to engage with the scholarly literature, no, particularly journal articles, to support your analysis, no, and outputs. No, in executive leadership, credibility is built on evidence-based thinking. No? Develop the habit of consulting high-quality sources will strengthen both your academic work and your professional leadership decisions. No? So I have here, no, I will provide this presentation, no, sa class, no. Okay. So this course requires discipline, no, responsibility, and professionalism. Imagine ang ating course ay executive leadership and supervisory development. And since this is an online and largely asynchronous class, attendance is not about presence. It is about participation and compliance. You are expected to follow schedules, complete requirements on time, and take ownership of your learning. No? Executive leaders are accountable, and this class will reflect that standard. No? If you miss a session or activity, it is your responsibility to catch up. Okay? So To succeed in this course, you must have the proper tools. No, a laptop or a desktop is required, as we will engage in presentation, written outputs, and online conferences. You must also have MS Office installed. No, leadership today is digital, and your ability to use technology effectively is part of your professional competence. Ano pa? Okay. So your performance in this course will be assessed through multiple components. No? Pre-recorded presentation, case studies, exams, narrative reports, individual presentation, and quizzes. These assessments are designed to measure not only knowledge, but also leadership communication, analysis, and application. Submission will be done through Google Classroom or Orange App LMS, and professionalism in submission is expected at all times. No? For each student presentation, I will begin by providing a brief introduction to the topic to establish the context and key focus areas. I will then give the floor to the assigned presenter to deliver the main discussion. Then after the discussion, I will provide a synthesis and summary of the key points to reinforce learning and link the discussions to our course objectives. So during the presentation, if you have questions, clarifications, or additional insights, please post them in the Zoom or class in chat box. No? The presenter will address these questions after completing the presentation to ensure an organized and an uninterrupted flow of discussions. No? There is no required number of slides or fixed duration for the video presentation, provided that the assigned topic is discussed comprehensively and with sufficient depth. No? The focus of your presentation should be on the quality, clarity, and completeness of the discussions rather than on length. No? Ensure that key concepts, theories, and relevant examples are clearly explained and properly supported by credible academic sources. Take note, relevant examples. No? Then, I also expect everyone to observe proper discussions etiquette at all times. No? Please be respectful, concise, and academically grounded in your questions and comments. Constructive participation, such as asking relevant questions, offering evidence-based insights, and engaging meaningfully with the topic, will be considered as part of your class participation and discussion grade. No? Professional conduct and active engagement are essential expectations in this graduate level course. No? So to ensure consistency and proper documentation, the format of your file name for all submission must begin with your surname, first name, followed by the specific requirements. This naming convention must be applied uniformly to all outputs, including narrative reports, case study, video presentation, examinations, and final project. So adhering to this format supports organized record keeping, efficient monitoring, and faster verification of submission. Please follow the provided example strictly, as improper file naming may delay the review and assessment of your work or deductions. Okay, the grading system is transparent and outcomes based on major exams, class standing, case studies, presentation, and attendance. All contribute to your final grade. And this structure reflects the reality of leadership. Performance is measured across multiple dimensions. Not just one exam, consistency and engagement through the semester are essential. No? Okay, so this grading system provides a transparent basis for evaluating your performance. No? By translating numerical scores into their responding grades, equivalent and qualitative remarks. No? So, yeah, the honors policy of master's program outlines the academic standards that the student must meet to graduate with distinction. Okay, so we have here. Okay, so as we formally conclude in PA 204 orientation or the executive leadership and supervisory development, I would like to emphasize now that this course was designed not merely to fulfill academic requirements, but to prepare students for realities of leadership and supervision in complex organizational environments. No? So throughout the semester, we examine leadership from strategic, ethical, emotional, and operational perspective because effective leaders or effective leaderships demands both competence and character. You were challenged to reflect on your leadership styles, engage in evidence-based decision making, manage people and performance, and respond responsibility to change and uncertainty. So these are not abstract concepts. Again, they are real responsibility that you will carry into your roles as public servants, managers, and leaders. The supervisory skills you develop here, communication, motivation, problem solving, and accountability are essential to organizational effectiveness and public trust. So as we move forward, I encourage you to treat leadership as a lifelong practice rooted in integrity, service, and continuous improvement. The final project you completed is not the end of your leadership journey, but a personal action plan you can refine and apply in your personal life. Now, I commend you for your engagement and commitment, and I trust that you will carry the principles of ethical, strategic, and people-centered leadership beyond our discussions. And so, congratulations, and I wish your continued growth success, no, for their discourse.